Hello everyone, this is Rebecca from Papeterie de Choix and welcome to Thematic Thursday. Today we're going to be doing grungy heart journaling cards made from or made with burlap and lace. So and by grungy I mean that I sprayed them with my coffee ink and also some crimson red ink that I made from watercolor. So this is the biggest one that I made so far. I just sewed the lace on. This is a piece of ribbon that came on a roll. This is it. And I think it might be wired. No, it's not wired. But I just created a pocket. It don't have a bottom, but you know, that keeps anything from going on through unless it's really narrow. So that's one. So these stains are coffee ink stains. That was actually the last one I made. The first one I made was this one. I tried my hand at doing some flower florets with some lace a while back. And I had made one and it just kept laying around. It's like I need to, you know, put it in a project. And when I came up with this, I thought that's the perfect thing. So this is also the same coffee ink. I sewed around this. I layered a piece of burlap on top of it, a little piece of lace, put the flower on top and glued that on so you can write on the back of it. Then I made this one. This is actually my favorite one, I think. I really like that one too, but I almost like this one better. Actually, this fabric and this fabric is the same, but this one is, the ink came all the way through the paper, so it looks pinkish, but on this one it didn't, so that's why it still looks white. But I did the same thing with just sewing on a piece of burlap lace with a little button, and so it creates a pocket on the front. Could journal on the back. This one I didn't put burlap on, but it's got a little piece of lace. I tore a piece of it's that very thin craft paper. It's almost like a tissue, but not quite. So I just folded the heart in two, put that over it, and kind of tore around it. And so you can write on the back side of that one. So what we're going to be doing today is just making a heart that fits in the theme of these that I've done. So I have this heart, and this is going to be the writing side. This has got some ink sprayed on it, and this is going to be the side that I glue something on. This is the white fabric, and I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not. Maybe if I do that, you can see it's got a coating. It's has an iron-on adhesive on the back. So what I'm going to do is just cut a small square out of this that I can put over that, and I'm going to iron this on and trim around it. Okay, so I'm going to, well, that's hot. I'm just going to trim around the edge, and I'm using my fabric scissors that I use when I'm doing paper crafts. Does that make sense? I have scissors that I use just for sewing and nothing else, and it just cuts fabric, nothing else. and they are completely on the other side of the room, but these are relatively inexpensive scissors that I use to cut fabric when I'm doing paper crafts or using fabric in my paper crafts. And so, alright, that I did not get quite as close, and let me cut that a little closer. That's a little better. Well, there we go. Okay, let me give it another once over. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to do is just, I like the way that this coffee ink looks around the edge of this white. I just really like it. And the cardstock I'm using is, it's not 60-pound cardstock. I'm almost out of that, and so I thought that I had more, and so when I pulled out the stack, it was a separate stack from, I guess, something I'd picked up at the thrift store. So it's a little lighter weight, but I don't know what the weight is, so it's a little bit thinner than 60 pound. So it's a little bit more flexible, which is fine, I suppose. It, oh, didn't mean to do that. Okay, the piece of burlap I want to use for this one, I hope it's not too big. I think it'll be fine. Let me just cut a piece off. And, well, I almost cut that too short, didn't I? Let's see. I have a couple of these. I can make this work. Yeah. Barely, I think. Let's give it another smidgen. I probably should have measured that. For future reference, just measure better than I did if you're going to do this project. Okay. Now, I'm going to just, I'm not going to trim too close, but I am going to trim a little bit so that when I sew it, I can sort of see what I'm doing. Alrighty. Let me put that up there a little bit more. I think that'll work. Okay, I'm going to put you on pause while I sew this, and I will be right back. Okie doke. I have sewed it around, and the first thing I want to do is tie off these little threads. And I see one of them's got hung right there. And I just, I like to tie off the threads, just keeps anything from coming out, well, if I can get my fingers to work, from coming out in the future with use, you know, going in and out of pockets and things like that. Okay. Okay. Let's cut that close. And let's trim these a little bit closer without cutting the paper if at all possible. Okay, that looks better. Alright. Well, you can see I went way out of line right there. Really far out of line, but my sewing machine that I use for paper is pretty old. I'm not sure how old. I've never Googled to find out. But I bought it at a thrift store in Morganton, North Carolina about 4 years ago. And it does an excellent job for what it is and what it does, and it was a really good machine in its day. But what I'm used to is my computerized machine that, you program the stitch in and it goes and it stops with the needle in and you can turn the corners and all that stuff, and yeah, this one don't do that. So yeah, okay, the next thing I'm going to do is find a little button that I can fit there. This is my jar of metal buttons, and that one might work. That's the same one. I think I actually used this on one of the other ones. No, similar but not quite. And silver won't work. Didn't I see another? That's not exactly what I want. I think that one might be it. I know that I don't have too many buttons with holes in the metal. I know I have a lot with shanks. Almost all of them have shanks. But, okay. Well, I'm not going to dump them all out, because I know that almost all of them have shanks. So that's going to be the button. Looks like I got dust in my buttons. Okay, now thread, needle, and scissors. Ooh, that thread's way too long, and my scissors have crud in them now from cutting that burlap. So, since I've been sharing news about my parents, their water's still working, yay. Like I said before, they have a farm. They grow Christmas trees, and have had since the late 70s. They finally semi-retired about 4 years ago, and they're not growing anything new. And they've actually stopped selling trees, and they just make wreaths and garland now. And they have people, schools and other people, mostly from Georgia, that they make huge orders for, like, half a transfer truckload, and it's just the two of them. So they start making wreaths at the end of October. So sometime in October they try to go somewhere and do a little something before, the non-stop work sets in. This needle's just not working for me. Or rather, the thread's not working for me. Anyway, so I called Mama this evening to see how the water was doing. And the water's doing fine, yay. for which I'm very glad. Find the middle here. Let's just go here. But they have decided to leave tomorrow up in the day and drive up into Virginia, and I don't know what I'm thinking. Yeah, drive up into Virginia and go somewhere. She did tell me, but I know they love the Shenandoah Valley, but that wasn't it. But anyway, they're going somewhere in the just over the border in Virginia. Then they're coming back down to Mount Airy and going to the Andy Griffith Museum and whatever else is in Mount Airy. And then they're going to spend the night in Spruce Pine tomorrow night, and then do all this the next day, and maybe possibly spend another day if their bones don't give out on them. We'll see how that goes. But anyway, so and then that so that's what they're doing this week. My daughter that lives in Indiana is coming down the week of the 16th or 15th, and she'll be staying for 5 days. So that week I will be in North Carolina because I don't get to see her very much, and I just typed that the wrong way. I did go up there in May and spend 13 days with her, but usually I only get to see her about once a year, and sometimes it's every other year. This is actually will be the first year in way over a decade that I've actually got to see her twice in a year's time. So, needless to say, I will be in North Carolina that week. I am hoping to have all of my videos scheduled for the time that I will be away, and I'll talk more about that as that time comes. Okay, now we're gonna go right down in here from the back side, and you can see where I folded it here. It sort of gave me a little line to go by, and I'm going to go below that stitching and just punch a little hole, and let me just snip that little thread away and get my handy dandy little things. I think I'm going to make this a white one so that it's sort of hidden behind that button. I think my button might be a little bit too far over. I think it'll be alright though. So, my tool over here. And another thing too, I noticed in the last video I had a little bit more camera shake than I was happy with, but I had such a problem getting the video actually finished that I wasn't about to try to do it again. Okay, that looks good. So I have spent this afternoon trying different places in this little area I've marked out for to do videos, and I've rearranged the lights and the camera and all that, so I hope to goodness when I upload this there's at least very little camera shake, if not no camera shake. That would be wonderful. But we will see. Okay. Let me go in from the front. And like I was mentioning in the last video, I've got a few behind the scenes, well, it's about a couple, and it'll all end up in one video, I'm sure, but I've got a couple of things that I want to share that's like a behind the scenes thing that I'm doing or getting into. That's it isn't paper per se, but it is paper. It can absolutely be used with paper. In fact, that's the whole purpose of me doing it. Okay, so this is just a simple little journaling card. Can be written on the back, can have all kinds of little notes stuffed in the front. Because the paper is a little thinner, you can actually put a little more. It might curve it up a little, but it can work that way. So we've got, let me clear my little work area just a slight bit. So we've got the one we've just made, one from before, and this one, and that one, and that one. Not too shabby chic, huh? I don't know if these actually qualify as shabby. I guess they are to some extent, and they're a little bit rustic with the soft edge with the lace and the burlap. Technically, this is not burlap, but this part is burlap. It's like burlap string. So I hope you enjoyed that. Very short and sweet. But that will be it for Thematic Thursday. So I will see you again on Friday with a brand new project. I've designed a few digitals for the project, so I can't wait to share them with you and create something from them. So see you in the next video.